I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to tell a story like this, but here I am. Because sometimes life blindsides you in ways you can't even make up. Imagine planning your wedding, spending months picking venues, tasting cakes, sending invitations only to find out your fiancé was cheating on you. And not just with some stranger, not some random guy from work, but with my own brother. Yeah, you heard that right. The woman I thought I was going to spend my life with, and the man I grew up with under the same roof, they betrayed me together. And the craziest part, she still expected me to marry her. But before I tell you how I found out and how it all came crashing down, you need to understand where I came from, because betrayal doesn't cut this deep unless there was real love, real trust, and real family bonds involved. That's what made it all so devastating. I met her 3 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was standing there in this red dress, laughing with her whole chest, like the kind of laugh that makes people turn their heads just to see what's so funny. I remember thinking, she lights up the room. And when I finally worked up the courage to talk to her, she didn't just smile. Politely, she leaned in, listened, laughed at my lame jokes like they were the funniest thing she'd ever heard. From that night on, we were inseparable. She was smart, ambitious, the kind of woman who knew what she wanted in life. And me, I was hooked. We dated, we traveled, we had our fights like any couple, but deep down, I thought we were building something unshakable. When I proposed to her a year ago, it felt right. It felt like the natural next step. My family loved her, or at least that's what I thought at the time. She blended in so easily at dinners, holidays, even game nights with my brother. And here's where it gets twisted. My brother and I, we weren't just siblings. We were close. Grew up sharing a room, sharing secrets, even covering for each other when we got into trouble. He was my best friend as much as my brother. So when my fiancé got along with him, I saw it as a blessing. I thought, great. The two most important people in my life actually like each other. I had no idea how wrong I was. Truth is looking back, maybe they got along a little too well, but at the time, I was blind. I thought I was lucky. Life was good. We were planning the wedding. My brother was supposed to be my best man, and everything seemed lined up. You ever have those moments where you stop and think, man, I've got it good? That's where I was. I'd worked hard for years, and here I was with a woman I loved and a family that seemed solid. What could go wrong, right? But here's the thing, betrayal doesn't start with the big moments. It creeps in quietly through the little things you don't notice or the things you choose to ignore. And I ignored a lot. I'll admit it. Back then, if someone had told me she was capable of cheating, I would have laughed in their face. If someone had told me my brother would stab me in the back like that, I would have called them insane. Because to me, those were the two people I trusted most. And maybe that's why the knife cut so deep when it finally twisted. For a while, though, it was perfect. We were engaged, we were in love, and I was proud to show her off. We'd go out, people would say, "You two are the perfect couple." And I'd grin like a fool, believing every word. She'd squeeze my hand under the table, look at me with those eyes, and I'd think, yeah, this is forever. And my brother. He'd clap me on the back, joke about how he'd better find someone soon, or else he'd be the lonely uncle. At family barbecues, we'd laugh. We'd drink beers on the porch and talk about the future. I thought everything was real. But you know what? Life has a cruel way of showing you the truth, whether you want to see it or not. And the first cracks, the first whispers of doubt, were about to start showing. At the time, though, I was blissfully unaware. Planning the wedding, booking the honeymoon, daydreaming about the life ahead of us, never realizing the two people closest to me were already tearing it all apart behind my back. The first cracks, looking back now, were so small I almost laughed at myself for even noticing them. But you know how it goes once. You start feeling that gut whisper. It never really goes away. The first thing I remember was her phone. She used to leave it everywhere. Didn't matter if it was buzzing with notifications, she'd toss it on the coffee table. Let me grab it if she was cooking and said, "Hey, can you check who texted me?" No big deal, but one day she started keeping it close. Too close, like it was suddenly a part of her body. I remember joking, "What? Are you married to your phone now?" She laughed, but it wasn't the same kind of laugh. It was nervous, like she was trying too hard. And then came the excuses. "Oh, it's just work. It's just a friend. Don't worry, it's nothing." And I wanted to believe her. I told myself, she's stressed. The wedding planning is a lot. Maybe she's just needing her space. But the truth is, I felt it. Something was off. Then there was my brother. At first, I thought it was just me, but he started acting different. We'd been close all our lives, right? But suddenly, he was quieter around me, less eye contact. He'd change the subject quick whenever she came up in conversation. And sometimes, when we were all in the same room, I'd catch these little glances. Quick, subtle, but enough to make me feel like the third wheel in my own relationship. One time, I walked into the living room, and they were sitting a little too close on the couch, whispering about something. They both jumped when I came in, like kids caught doing something wrong. She said they were talking about surprise wedding plans for me. My brother nodded way too fast. And me? I forced a smile, told myself not to overthink, because who wants to believe their fiancé and their brother could cross that line? Nobody. You don't let yourself go there. Not until you have to. But the little things kept piling up. She started working late. My brother started having plans the same nights. Sometimes she'd come home smelling like a different cologne. Not mine, not hers either. And when I asked, she'd brush it off. "Someone hugged me goodbye at work," she'd say. Don't be silly. Silly. That word stuck in my chest like a knife. Because maybe I was being silly. Or maybe I wasn't. You ever had that feeling where your heart and your brain are? At war, one says, "She loves you. Don't doubt her." The other says, "Wake up. Look at the signs." That's where I was. Constant tug of war. The worst part, the wedding planning became her shield. Every time I tried to bring something up, she'd throw it back with, "I'm just stressed. We've got so much to do before the big day. Can't you just trust me?" And I'd back down, because I wanted this wedding. I wanted this future. And deep down, I wanted her to be the person I thought she was. One night really sticks with me. I came home early from work, figured I'd surprise her. But when I pulled into the driveway, my brother's car was parked outside. My stomach dropped, but I told myself, maybe he's just visiting. I walked in, and sure enough, they were. In the kitchen, laughing about something on her phone. They looked up, startled, then too cheerful, like they'd rehearsed it. "Hey," she said, "we were just looking at honeymoon ideas." My brother nodded. "Yeah, man, check this out." And he shoved the phone in my face, showing beaches and resorts. But the way they looked at each other when they thought I wasn't paying attention, it gnawed at me. Later that night, when she fell asleep, I stared at the ceiling for hours. My gut screamed, my brain whispered, and my heart tried to drown them both out. Kept telling myself, "You're paranoid. Don't ruin this." But the signs didn't stop. She started guarding her texts like they were national secrets. My brother dodged me more and more, claiming he was busy when I asked to hang out. And then one night, the one that changed everything for me, she slipped up. She left her purse on the table while she went to shower. I didn't mean to snoop, but my eyes caught a hotel receipt sticking out. One room, 2 guests. Same night she told me she was with her bridesmaids planning details. My hands went cold. Holding that piece of paper, I felt sick. My brain scrambled, making excuses for her, even then. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was a booking error. I slipped it back and said nothing. Cowardly, maybe, but I wasn't ready for the truth yet. That night, I lay awake next to her, watching her sleep, wondering who she really was. Wondering who my brother really was, and wondering if the life I thought I was building was already gone. That hotel receipt never left my mind. It sat in my chest like a stone, heavy every time I looked at her. I kept asking myself, was it possible there was some explanation? Could she really lie that easily? Could my brother really betray me like that? Truth is, I didn't want to believe it. Not her, not him. But the signs were piling up so high, even denial couldn't cover them anymore. A week later, something happened that snapped me awake. I was at my mom's house, helping her with some yard work, when my brother showed up. He acted normal, maybe too normal, cracking jokes, asking about the wedding, offering to grab beers later. But when my phone buzzed and I glanced down, it was a text from my fiancée working late. Don't wait up. And at that exact moment, I watched my brother look at his own phone, smirk, and quickly shove it back into his pocket. My stomach twisted. I swear the air got thinner. I couldn't prove anything yet, but that moment it was like my gut finally screamed loud enough for me to hear. Something was happening, and it wasn't just in my head. That night, I couldn't sit still. I kept replaying it over and over, her texting me about working late while he was right there, smirking like he had a secret. I decided I needed proof, not suspicions, not whispers. Proof, so the next time she said she was working late, I followed her. Not gonna lie, my hands were shaking the whole drive. I felt sick, like I was betraying her by checking up on her, but deep down, I knew the real betrayal wasn't mine. I parked a couple blocks from her office, waited, and sure enough, her car wasn't there. I sat in the dark, staring at the empty lot, my chest pounding. Minutes turned into an hour. No sign of her. That's when I saw it, her car, pulling into a hotel parking lot on the other side of town. My breath caught. I followed at a distance, heart racing, praying I was wrong. She got out, fixed her hair in the mirror, and walked inside. 5 minutes later, another car pulled up. My brother, he walked in like he'd done it 100 times. I gripped the steering wheel so hard, my knuckles went white. There it was. The truth, undeniable, right in front of me. For a long time, I just sat there, frozen, watching the doors close behind them. My mind was a blunger, sadness, disbelief, all crashing together. I thought about storming inside, catching them red-handed, making a scene. But something held me back. Maybe it was shock. Maybe it was the voice in my head saying, "Get proof. Don't give them a chance to twist it." So I waited. Hours passed. Finally, I saw them walk out together, laughing, brushing shoulders like lovers, not like people sneaking around. She leaned on him for a second, the way she used to lean on me. And that image had burned into me like a brand I'll never forget. I pulled out my phone and snapped pictures. My hands trembled, my vision blurred with tears. But I forced myself to capture it, because this wasn't paranoia anymore. This was real. As I sat there, watching them drive off together, the reality crashed down harder than I imagined it would. It wasn't just that she cheated. It wasn't just that he betrayed me. It was that they did it together behind my back, for who knows how long, while I was planning a wedding, while I was calling him my best man, while I was calling her my future wife. I drove home in silence that night, the photos burning in my pocket like hot coals. When she finally walked through the door hours later, she kissed me on the cheek, smiled, and said, "Work was exhausting tonight." And in that moment, something Inside me broke. Because I had the proof. I had the truth. And yet she stood there, looking me in the eye, lying like it was nothing. I wanted to scream, to throw the pictures in her face, but I held back. Not yet, not until I was ready. Because if she could stand there and lie so easily, then I wanted her to see what it looked like when the truth finally hit her square in the face. I don't know if you've ever had to sit across from someone you love, knowing they're lying straight to your face, but let me tell you, it's a special kind of torture. After that night at the hotel, every moment with her felt like I was living in two different realities. In one, she was still my fiancée, the woman I promised to marry. In the other, she was just a stranger with a secret, walking around in her skin. I lasted 2 days pretending. 2 long, painful days. Then I couldn't take it anymore. I decided to confront her. I waited until she came home one evening, claiming she'd been meeting with the wedding planner. She tossed her bag down, kicked off her shoes, and smiled at me like nothing was wrong. That smile made my stomach turn. I sat her down at the table and slid my phone across to her. Photos of her and my brother walking out of the hotel together, laughing, looking like a couple. Her face went pale. She froze, eyes darting to mine, then back to the screen, then down at her hands. For a second, she didn't say a word. Then, finally, she whispered, "It's not what it looks like." I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. A bitter, broken laugh. Not what it looks like. You and my brother sneaking out of a hotel in the middle of the night? You think I'm blind? She started crying, reaching across the table. Please, just let me explain. I pulled my hand back. Explain what? How long? That's all I want to know. How long has this been going on? She shook her head, tears streaming. It was a mistake. Didn't mean anything. But her words felt empty, hollow. I stood up, pacing the room, my voice shaking with anger. Didn't mean anything. You've been lying to me for months. You've been building a life with me while sneaking around with my own brother. And you want to tell me it didn't mean anything? My chest was pounding so hard I thought I'd pass out. She kept sobbing, saying she loved me, that she still wanted to marry me, that we could move past this. Can you believe that? She still expected me to marry her. As if a wedding ring could erase betrayal. As if vows could glue back trust that had already been shattered. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, the front door opened. My brother walked in. I'd asked him to come, told him we needed to talk. He stopped dead in his tracks when he saw her crying, me standing there. With my fists clenched, the photos on the table between us. His face said it all. Guilt, fear, but not enough shame for my liking. So it's true, I said quietly. He tried to step forward. Listen, man, it just happened. We didn't mean for it. I cut him off, yelling this time. Didn't mean for it? You think that makes it better? You're my brother. You were supposed to stand beside me at my wedding. Instead, you've been standing beside her in hotel rooms. The words came out like venom, and for a moment the room was dead silent except for her sobs. He put his hands up, trying to calm me. I'm sorry, okay? I screwed up. We both did. But you can't just throw away everything over a mistake. A mistake. That word almost broke me. Because a mistake is spilling a drink, forgetting a birthday. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. Repeated, deliberate choices. I stepped closer, my voice low but sharp. You didn't just betray me once. Betrayed me every single time you looked me in the eye and lied. Both of you? She tried again, whispering, Please, I love you. It was just confusion. I want to marry you. I want our life together. I stared at her, then at him, and in that moment, I realized something. They weren't sorry because they hurt me. They were sorry because they got caught. And the truth is, that was enough for me to know it was over. I pointed to the door. "Get out, both of you." She gasped, stood up, reaching for me, but I stepped back. My brother muttered something about not making this worse, but I just shook my head. "It's already worse. You made sure of that." They hesitated, like they thought I'd change my mind, like maybe I'd break down and forgive them on the spot. But I didn't. I stood there, silent, until finally he grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the door. Watching them leave together, my fiancé and my brother, it felt like my whole life collapsed in front of me. But at the same time, there was a strange sense of clarity. The lie was over. The pretending was over. And though the pain was unbearable, at least now I knew the truth. When that door shut behind them, the silence in the house was deafening. I stood there, staring at the empty space they'd just walked out of, feeling like the floor had been ripped out from under me. My fiancé, my brother, gone together. Not gonna lie, for a moment I thought I was gonna collapse. My legs felt weak, my chest heavy, like I couldn't catch a full breath. I sat down at the table, those photos still staring back at me, mocking me almost. Proof I'd needed, proof I'd gotten, but proof that destroyed everything I thought I had. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat awake on the couch, phone buzzing every few minutes. Calls from her, texts from him, voicemails from both. "Please, talk to me. It didn't mean what you think. We can fix this." I didn't answer a single one. I just let the phone buzz until the battery died, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I didn't care. The next morning, my mom called. Word had already spread. My brother must have told her his version. She was crying, asking me if it was true, asking how this could happen. And I didn't even know what to say. How do you explain to your own mother that one of her sons betrayed the other in the worst way possible? I just told her the truth. "Yes, Mom, it happened." I saw it with my own eyes. Silence on the line, then more crying. That broke me almost as much as the betrayal itself, knowing what it did to her. The days that followed were a blur. I canceled the wedding, called the venues, the caterer, the photographer. Each call was like tearing off another piece of my chest, explaining to friends, to extended family. To everyone who had been excited for us, it was humiliating, embarrassing. But more than that, it was heartbreaking. And through it all, she kept trying, showing up at my door, begging for forgiveness, saying it was just confusion, saying she loved me. My brother even tried once, standing there on the porch, looking at me with those eyes we'd shared since childhood. Man, I messed up. Don't throw away our bond over this. Over this, like it was something small, like it wasn't the biggest betrayal of my life. I told him to leave, told him I couldn't even look at him without feeling sick. Truth is, I didn't just lose a fiancé that week. I lost a brother too. And that's a different kind of pain, because romantic relationships, as much as they hurt, you can almost expect betrayal from strangers, from people who come and go. But family, that's supposed to be the one place you're safe. And when that's ripped away, it changes you. I went through phases: anger, sadness, numbness, nights staring at the ceiling, wondering what I did wrong, what signs I missed, why I wasn't enough. Then I realized something. It wasn't about me not being enough. It was about them being selfish. It was about them choosing temptation over loyalty, lies over honesty, betrayal over love. And no matter how many times they tried to call it a mistake, I knew the truth. Mistakes don't happen over and over in secret hotel rooms. Mistakes don't require months of lies. That was choice. Every single time. It took me a while, but eventually I stopped asking why me and started asking what now. What do I do with this pain? What do I do with this broken trust? And the answer, as simple and as brutal as it was, came down to one word. Move on, move forward. Move away from people who could do that to me. So that's what I did. I cut ties, blocked numbers, stopped answering messages. And slowly, the silence became less suffocating. Slowly, I started feeling like myself again. Not gonna lie, it still hurts. It probably always will, in some corner of my heart. But pain can be a teacher if you let. It is, and this is what I learned: love without respect is just a game. Trust without honesty is just a setup for heartbreak. And family. Family isn't just blood. Family is who stands by you, not who stabs you in the back when you're not looking. She expected me to marry her anyway. Like I could just stand there, say vows, smile for pictures, build a life on top of a lie. But I chose myself instead. I chose dignity. I chose truth. And that choice saved me. It broke me first, but it saved me in the end. If you've ever been betrayed like this, if you've ever looked at someone you loved and realized they weren't who you thought they were, I know how much it hurts. I know how heavy it feels. But I'm here to tell you, don't marry betrayal. Don't keep lies alive because you're afraid to start over. Walk away. Even if your voice shakes, even if your heart breaks, walk away. Because sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you'll ever do.